Hey there, it's Melissa with the Marshall Garden Company, and I wanted to give you a care guide on how to take care of your aloe vera plants. So there are tons of aloe vera plants out there. Today, we're going to be talking specifically about Aloe Barbadensis. That's the traditional aloe vera plant that's medicinal, and I wanted to talk about that one because it's so easy to get your hands on it. You can find it at most garden centers. You can find it at the big box stores. Heck, you even see it at the grocery stores. But today, I'm talking about this one. Ooh, that's a wasp. But I'm talking about this one because we got some magic happening here. We got some joy happening here. My aloe vera is about to bloom, and I wanted to share that because you don't get to see blooming aloe vera often, so I might as well let y'all all see it. I'm going to try to march through about 8 points, so buckle up, let's go. The first point I wanted to talk about was lighting and light exposure. So when you're taking care of your plants, lighting depends on a lot of different things, but mostly whether you have your plant inside or outside. I got Big Daddy who mostly lives outside. I got some smaller babies that live inside. But lighting, we've talked about this before. Lighting is where your plant gets its food. Lighting is how photosynthesis happens. So light is important. If you're keeping your aloe vera inside, I want you to get it in the brightest spot that you can possibly find, right? Because it needs a whole lot of light. If you're keeping it outside, you're gonna go a little bit different. You're gonna wanna give it some protection from the afternoon sun, right? It, like most plants in East Texas, it loves that morning sun. That's the golden hour here. Alia talks about the golden hour being the afternoon sun beaming on you all nice, but for plants, the golden hour is morning sun. So you're gonna wanna give it some morning sun, give it a little protection from that blazing sun. You'll know your aloe vera's lighting is good if you have that beautiful kind of icy green color on your plant. Know you're stressing your aloe vera out if you got some color changing and some little crispy tips going on your plant. The second point I wanted to go over was temperature. Aloe vera plants like to be in between 55 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Now y'all know we go way over that all the time. So that's part of why you're gonna put this plant in the shade. Aloe veras live natively in zones 9 through 11. In East Texas, we're about zone 8B. So we're really close to it. But because we're not zone 9, you're going to want to be sure you move your plant indoors or in the garage once that first fall frost comes along. Aloe veras originated in the Arabian Peninsula, so they grow in tropical, semi-tropic regions where there's a lot of humidity, right? And so we got a lot of humidity in East Texas, so your plant will love that. The next point is soil type for your aloe veras. Just like your other cactuses and succulents, it's gonna want a well-draining soil. It does not want to have wet roots. So aloe veras, their roots don't grow super deep fast, and they don't want to get mushy and wet. So you're gonna want a soil that'll drain quickly. You're gonna look for a cactus mix. Try not to plant it in a potting soil or garden soil because those stay too wet. Espoma has a really good cactus mix. Miracle Grow has a good cactus mix. And if you're one of the DIY girlies, you can mix your own. Just keep in mind, you need it to drain well. So you can find tons of recipes online, but think something along the lines of 2 parts perlite or pumice stones, 1 part coarse horticultural sand, not no beach sand. Get the sand for your plants, and then 1 part cocoa coir, and that'll give you the good starts to a great soil, a great cactus mix. Let's talk about watering, and I think this is the most important part to nail down if you're doing cactuses, because overwatering is probably the #1 reason that people fail with aloe vera. Your watering amounts and your watering frequency, it's going to depend on so many things. Does your plant get a lot of light? Does your plant get a little light? Is it inside? Is it outside? Is it in a super hot place? Is it really windy? Is it humid? Is it not? All of that plays into how much water any plant needs, but especially a plant that's sensitive to watering. My best recommendation with an aloe plant or any succulent or cactus is you're called the finger test. You're not going to water that plant unless when you poke your finger in, the first 1 to 2 inches are completely dry. If it's a little bit moist, don't water it. If it's a little wet, don't water it. Wait a little bit of time. For me, my plants that are inside, I typically need to give them a little bit of water every 2 to 3 weeks. They don't need water very often. The ones that are outside, they usually go a week or 2 before I water them. I don't water them as frequently as I'm watering a hydrangea or even my roses. Even the lantana, it doesn't get water as often as those because it doesn't need it. If you're overwatering your aloe vera plant, what you're going to notice is that the leaves start to get squishy and they get kind of light in color. They start turning kind of a whitish tone. If you're underwatering your plant, you'll see that the leaves start shriveling up and shrinking. And they're doing that because if it's not getting enough water, it's living off of the water in the gel of the plant. The next point, we're at number 5, and that's fertilizing. And this one is easy because aloes are really low maintenance when it comes to fertilizing. They don't need a lot of fertilizer. They don't want a lot of fertilizer. So this is one where you get to keep it pretty simple. You can buy a cactus blend fertilizer, or you can use a well-diluted all-purpose fertilizer. Just don't go full strength on your aloe veras. What I usually do, I give it a low dose of fertilizer at the start of spring. So about March, I gave it a little bit of fertilizer. Then again in May, I gave it fertilizer kind of at the first of the month. And then I'll probably fertilize it one more time in July. I'm not going to give it any fertilizer once we get into the fall or the winter, because by then, this plant is getting ready to power down and it's not growing, so it won't need it. But fertilizing these, super easy. And I guess now we'll talk about what you came here for, the flower. How do you get this thing to flower? I made this video because I know most people have never seen an aloe vera plant flower. And the reason you hadn't seen it flower is because if you're growing it indoors, it's not got the ideal stressful environment that'll make it flower. It's really, really, really rare to get them to flower indoors, but I'd imagine you could do it if you put enough light on it and enough stress and pressure on it. The flowers of this plant are primarily pollinated by birds. So over the last few weeks, I had it sitting in its regular spot across the yard, but when I tell you the birds have kind of been swarming and they're waiting on these flowers to open up, it's gonna flower. Those flowers will, on aloe vera, they're usually yellow or orange or red. Mine looks like they're gonna be yellow, and hummingbirds absolutely love this. The plant flowers as part of its effort to reproduce. And this is where I get into telling you how to make yours do the same thing. Big Daddy here is flowering because I stressed it out. And that stress cued this plant, hey, you need to try to reproduce. And you've already learned that plants flower so that they can reproduce. That's their way. That's a circle of life. Get your Lion King on. So if you want yours to flower, you're gonna have to stress it out a bit. Don't kill it. Do not kill it, but stress it out a bit. Temperature drops, reduce the watering, give it extended light. Those things kind of make that plant say, hey, I need to have some babies. I need to keep growing. For mine, when we came out of winter, this had been in the garage from probably October through December. Been in the garage, not getting a lot of light, not getting a whole bunch of water, because in the winter, I don't water it very often. And then I put it outside, and you all know what our weather has done this spring. We had ups, we had downs, we had chills, we had colds. And I left mine out when the temperature dropped because I wanted to stress it out to see if I could make it bloom. And there you got it. That's what I did. But if you want yours to bloom, you're gonna have to stress it out a little bit. Over the next couple of weeks, I'll be sure to post more pictures of the flower once those blooms open all the way up. But once it's opened up and the blooms have faded, what you're gonna do is go all the way down this stem as far as you can, and you're just gonna snip that off and let your plant keep going. Aloe veras are not like agaves where they bloom and then they're done, right? Aloe veras are gonna keep on going, and eventually it'll bloom again if I stress it out. Flowering aloe vera is known to be really good luck, and it's said to be protection from evil spirits in Latin America and ancient Egypt. So I love all of that. The flowering bloom is supposed to bring you prosperity, it's supposed to bring you harmonious relationships, and it's also, in ancient Egypt, they say that a flowering aloe vera was a sign that the pharaohs had safely transitioned. But enough of that, we're gonna go on to the next point. Next, we've got propagation. And propagation is really easy with aloe veras. Now you can wait on this flower to seed. I have never done that before because you don't have to do that. Aloe vera produce what we call pups, right? And so the main shoot is going to send out smaller plants, and from those smaller plants, that's where you repot. That's your propagation. That's the whole kit and caboodle for these. So in this one, I have several pups that I'm going to take out and show you how to repot them. So here's one piece that I pulled out. When you pull these out off of your big daddy, off your big plant, you're going to want to let these sit and dry, callus over. They need to callus for a day or two. You want that to happen because with this newly propagated pup, you don't want to get water introduced in there too fast. But I'm going to pull another one out, try to get a bigger one so you can see. And it's going to take a little muscle because I told y'all I hadn't been doing right by this plant. There it goes. So this one came up with roots and everything, but I'm going to let this sit out for a day or two before I plant it. We're going to pretend that this plant has sat out for a day or two and calloused up real nice. All I'm going to do is take a little pot. I'm going to add some of that cactus mix in there, right? Add a good amount of that soil in there. Tamp it down. Make me a hole. And then I'm going to just push him in there and tamp that soil down real good. And my trick when I'm repotting aloe vera, because it's always going to be top heavy, right? It hadn't had a chance to put roots on. Get you some rocks or some pebbles or something of the sort and put those around that plant. And that's going to help it stabilize a little bit because it's top heavy. But there you have it. That's a repotted aloe vera. That's one down. I guess I'll give that to somebody. One of y'all want that? Look at that little piece, right? So the white part is the stem. Roots would form from that little piece. I'm going to save that one too. See if we can get some more of it out of here. Uh-oh, broke that leaf. Yikes. Put that to the side. If I turn it this way, maybe you can see again. So I let this thing get completely out of control. I let this thing get completely out of control for this experiment. Some of that out of there. Pull that out. That's me 2 more pieces. Let's see what else we got. We got one hiding right here. Oh, it's heavy. another little baby. Clean them up a little bit. We collected all these pups. That's a lot of propagation. And that one. But we collected all of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, baby. 8, 9, 10, 11. And Big Daddy will be just fine. Lastly, we'll talk about harvesting and storing them. It's really easy. Y'all know you can use aloe vera for a gazillion things. Get your Google on. But to harvest them, you can either cut 1 to 2 inch pieces. And if you got a burn or you want to use it just for like, hey, I got bit by mosquitoes, just cut you a little piece off. Or you can cut the whole leaf. And we'll do this one here. Look at all that ooey gooey. But you can take these 1 to 2 inch pieces, and boy, that is nice. Or you can get off in there and you can cut the whole leaf. When you harvest this, you can use it immediately, or you can store it in the refrigerator. Put it in an airtight container, and it'll store for about a week. But I usually, when I'm making my hair stuff, I cut the edge off of that thing. And then you can split it in half. And that's what you want. That's the magic. It's like dripping all over the place. But they'll keep in the refrigerator in an airtight container for about a week. Well, that's it on aloe vera. That's it. I've been growing these plants for years. I think they're beautiful. I think they're practical. Everyone should have an aloe vera plant because it's got so many uses for it. Lots of people grow it. I hope you grow it. If you don't, I hope this encourages you to grow it. And leave some comments about your experience with growing aloe vera, or if you've gotten yours to flower, or if you're going to try to get yours to flower, because I'd love to talk about it and see pictures of other people's aloe vera flowering.